No past performance contracts on SAM.gov. That's what we are up to today, and we are going to be looking at not one, not two, but three example contracts on SAM.gov where all these contracts are not requiring past performance. So the first one we will just dive into. This is called Red Devil Mine Soil Land Spread Monitoring. So we'll dive into more about exactly what that looks like. This is due August 22nd. This is small business set aside. They're using the 541990 Professional, Scientific, and Technical Services NAICS code. In contracting, we have Lisa Brune. And then we do have a number of attachments with the solicitation, the amendment, statement of work, photos, looks like a M&M plan, summary report, and a revision of sorts. So we will quickly dive into these and essentially see what they're asking for and what this contract is all about. So this one, we're immediately hit with the SF 1449 form. Quotes shall be submitted to Lisa Brune. Government anticipates award of a single firm fixed price contract. Delivery December 31st, 2026. So the period of performance will start October of this year and end the end of next year. So we do have clauses incorporated. And as we continue to make our way down, we can see that this is a 30-page solicitation. Then we're hit with a wage termination. So pretty much the entire solicitation is either WD, wage determination, or clauses. Okay, so they are referencing an evaluation here. So the government will award a contract resulting on the solicitation that is most advantageous, price and other factors considered. The following factors shall be used to evaluate offers. Price only. Okay, guys, so this is how we know. This is how we know that the government does a lot of boilerplate, or copy and paste template type activities, because they're saying price and other factors will be considered, but then the only factors that are being considered is price. But for the purpose of this video, right, it's not past performance. It's not experience. We'll take a quick look at the statement of work. So the statement of work is, we can enable editing here. Just a few pages long, okay? Statement of work, Red Devil Mine, 2026 Land Spread Progress Monitoring. So the Red Devil Mine, RDM, is an abandoned cinnabar mine and mercury retorting operation at a remote location near the village of Red Devil, Alaska. Okay. Processed mercury was produced at RDM from the late 30s through the late 60s. The mine was abandoned in about 1970 and has been unoccupied since. So the Bureau of Land Management initiated environmental restoration and remediation in the late 90s, and that process has continued to be present here. So the RDM site is located on the south bank of the Kuskokwim River, approximately 2 miles upstream from the village. The Red Devil Village is accessible by aircraft year-round and boat in the summer. Sounds very interesting. Access to RDM is along approximately 2 miles of Pioneer Road. Let's just skip ahead a little bit. When the mine was active, diesel fuel was stored in 5 large above-ground tanks, okay, located near the river. The tanks were demolished as part of the cleanup, and a large volume of petroleum contaminated the soil, contaminated soil was excavated from that in 2010. A large land spread facility was constructed to treat that soil, and the facility is organized into 6 100-foot by 100-foot decision units. So the soil in each decision unit to be monitored is 0.5 foot to 1.5 feet deep. GPS coordinates are the following, and they're giving us maps and photos. So the objective, lastly, of this project is to have a qualified person measure and conduct treatment progress of soils in a land spread treatment facility at the mine. The contractor shall monitor DU5 at the land spread facility and report the resulting data to BLM and ADEC. The most recent 2024 sampling event was accomplished by 2 people working on site for about 8 hours. This really helps us with pricing. The field team mobilized and demobbed via air charter, so they flew in. The same day soil samples were collected. So then they're giving you the specific tasks. Okay, so there's mobilization, won't occur without ADEC approval. This is actually really interesting. I don't know why. Hopefully, it feels a little bit like story time. I wasn't expecting this, but field work at the site shall be done in the presence of BLM inspector. Contractor will provide transportation from Anchorage to the village. Execution of the project will comply with the NEPA policy. And then they're giving you the submittals. So actually, they're telling us how many people had done it in the past, got to fly in, how long is it going to be for? I'm actually surprised that they're not asking for past performance on something like this. The amendment is just to change the title from landfill to land spread. No other changes. Okay, no big deal there. What do the maps and photos look like for something like this? Okay, so they're giving us, territorial, Google Earth snapshot, if you will, from Anchorage to Red Devil Mine, 250 miles, and then from Red Devil Mine to Antioch is another 75 miles. They're showing us the river. They're showing us the 6 units. Interesting. And then this is the land spread from 2014. This is 2017. And that's all we have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that makes me a nerd, but I think it's kind of interesting. And furthermore, I will just reiterate, no past performance. Lastly, as we kind of tee this one up, and we've got 2 more contracts to get through. So I'll try to keep a decent pace. But this looks like the letter or the report. BLM contaminated soil land spread area Red Devil Mine. This work plan, so it's a work plan. Okay. So you could definitely dive more into that, but for today, I don't think it's necessary for us to do that. Just see what this summary report, yeah, that's what we just looked at. Is it? Or, yeah, okay. Basically the findings. It is the findings. So not only was it's like price only, guys. It's price was the only factor. Remember, they're not asking to see resumes. They're not asking to see anything. Maybe they're assuming that this will be just so niche that nobody's going to touch it, except, the previous contractor, going to go after this one again. But it's price only, so whoever wins the price is going to win this. And here is going to be your little pricing table as part of the SF 1449 that you can fill out for essentially a 14-month period of performance. So, interesting example 1. Example 2. SRS headquarters in Bent Creek snow removal. Okay, due August 31st, small business set aside 561790. Other services to buildings and dwellings, NAICS code on this. They're giving us one update in the description saying to correct the period of performance. And in general, snow and ice removal services for the Southern Research Station headquarters. Both facilities are located in Asheville, North Carolina for the POP. The anticipated start date is going to be 1 November. It's going to go through October. Hang on a second. They're saying it'll be 1 November 2025 through 31 October 2025. I think they mean 2026, plus 4 option years. So base plus 4. There is not a formal site visit, but if you want to view the site, you can set that up. We've got Heather Harkley in contracting and Nestor Rivera Gonzalez. My guess is Nestor is the contracting officer and Heather is the specialist. For attachments, we have the solicitation. We have an update or an amendment that we just saw, probably a statement of work. Maybe an Excel sheet here. Site map, and a wage termination. So let's look at the solicitation first. This is 18 pages. No formal SF 1449 form on this. Highlights regarding the site visit, contracting, due date, that's fine. Clauses. Covered telecom, your name and UEI. For evaluation, they're saying, once again, Actually, not once again. They're saying lowest price. The government will award a contract resulting whose quote conforms to the solicitation, which is acceptable, and then lowest price. So the quoter shall submit their quote by this date and time. It's the quoter's responsibility to confirm receipt of the quote, comply with the following: acknowledge any amendments, schedule of items, and reps and certs, specifically those 3 items. Quoter may submit an alternate bid schedule. If submitting an alternate bid schedule, the offer shall clearly indicate, as I always say, guys, you can do alternate bid if you want to change something in the statement of work, change the approach. Indicate how all the requirements are still going to be met from the statement of work, along with those line items being proposed. If you're going to do an alternate, you still have to check all the boxes. And it shall be firm fixed priced without estimating quantities, they said. So what other attachments do we have? Because that's pretty concise. So for the Excel sheet, looks like we do have pricing. This will be, yeah, they corrected the date here. So base plus 1, 2, 3, 4. As we said, base plus 4. And they're allowing us the price for 6 different line items per year. So line item 1 is going to be 1/4 inch to 5 inches. What's the price for that snow removal? For more than 5 inches, what's the price for that? For ice melt, you know, basically putting down the salt or the sanding, right? Price for that. And that's for all one location at the SRS headquarters. Then the second location, remember these are both Asheville, North Carolina. At the Bent Creek location, it'll be the same thing. 1/4 inch to 5 inches, more than 5 inches, and then the ice melt. Okay, so how much is it for you to come out and do it for each of these? They're being called one job. And then you will just probably do a small price escalation across your option periods. And then you're pretty much good to go on that. We do have a quick statement of work from the USDA. The contractor shall provide all labor. Okay, we pretty much get it. Again, the 2 locations, site 1, site 2. And since we saw the pricing cleanse, we pretty much know what they're going to be looking, right? 1/4 inch to 5 inches, more than 5 inches, and then the ice melt. So government furnished items, government furnished facilities. The government will not furnish or make available any facilities to the contractor, so you don't come inside. You can stay out in the cold. Government furnished equipment, the contractor will receive 1 key fob or manual key for access through the gates to get in and out. Government will not provide any other equipment. Government furnished materials, the contractor shall furnish all required materials. And then utilities, government will not furnish utilities. Contractor furnished items, right? Except for the utilities listed number 4. The contractor shall provide all facilities, equipment, materials, supplies, and services. We pretty much get the point by now. Material use shall be bio-preferred and approved by the Corps. So keep in mind, if you can use any like bio-preferred ice melt, for example, put that in as a spec sheet in your proposal with this. It's going to give you the edge, potentially. You know what I'm saying? The contractor shall maintain MSDS sheets for materials used, so part of your submittals. Management, total work effort associated with this. Essentially, guys, the Corps is going to like watch you do the work. They're going to watch you plow. They're going to watch you apply the ice melt. And then they're going to approve that distribution, right? And you'll be able to bill out for that particular event, if you will. Snow and ice removal services requirements. Okay, so now they're breaking down in more detail. 1/4 inch. If snow amount is less than 1 inch, place a ruler in the snow of a paved surface and take a picture to serve as verification, as evidence, essentially, so that you can get paid that the snow accumulation meets the 1/4 inch requirements prior to doing any work, okay? It's going to be part of your submittals. They want to see the photos, meaning the Corps might not actually be there. For the ice melt, if criteria are met, ice melted products shall be spread across icy surfaces, paved, concrete, steel surfaces. Kind of get the point. They're giving you the performance requirement measures, right? Unless pre-approved to work during normal hours, 96% of all work shall be performed when specified conditions warrant, prior to 8 a.m., basically before everybody's needing to get onto the parking lot. And then 10% deduction if not completed by 8 a.m. So if you're late, they're actually going to withhold 10% of your pay. I've seen this before. And then for all of these, method of surveillance, 100% inspection and customer complaint. Basically, it's just 100% inspection. They're going to be watching you to make sure that this is all going to be done properly. Okay, but pretty straightforward. The map is probably, just going to be a drawing. You can see square footage. Driveway to plow, 92,000 square feet, 2,400 square feet for sidewalks. And then there's also 9 structures with porches and steps to clear. So that's actually pretty helpful. If that's at the Bent Creek location, at the headquarters, this map is a nightmare and it's not readable. So we would like contracting to please attach a readable map for that one. So again, for this, we had our pricing sheet, which I think I already closed out, but pretty straightforward pricing sheet for those 6 CLINs for the base plus 4 option periods. And then we still have it open one more time for the solicitation, the request for quote. This is just going to be, pretty much price only. It's just going to be your Excel sheet, and then you're going to attach some of this contract admin data. So the covered telecom, and then those items that they mentioned earlier for you. That's right, there actually was no amendment for this one. That was for the previous contract. So there is no amendments to acknowledge for this. The completed schedule of items, though, we have that for the pricing sheet, and then the reps and certs as well, along with, pages like this with the vendor name, the UEI, anything that's highlighted. They're making it very easy for you. The covered telecom, you get it. So that will be consistent of your proposal response, not including, again, past performance. Let's move on to example 3, which I think is going to be a fairly short example. So 30th Construction Regiment, portable toilets and hand washing stations. August 24th due date. Small business set aside, 562991 septic tank and related services. In the description, they're calling out an amendment. The purpose of the amendment is to update the offer due date to August 25th. Okay, fair enough. This is a RFQ, request for quote. Here's a statement of work. Also in the listing description, CLIN 1, base year, so 1 September through August 2026. So a whole year. And then option year period 1, which will go through September to November. So basically a 1.5 year long contract. Here they're saying, for example, do not submit a completed copy of your reps and certs. They're saying we don't need that. So definitely read your instructions, read your contracts. So we have Sabrina Melcior in contracting for primary, and then Cynthia Cruz for the alternate. For documents, we have a quote sheet and wage termination, valuation factors, instruction to offers are both broken out separately, and then a statement of work. So let's just start with the quote sheet. So for this quote sheet, very, very basic, right? They're asking for your name, address, cage code, UEI. Then they just want you to price out, essentially, the entire base period, and then the entire option period. And then a 6-month option to extend as well. So that would take you from 1.5 years, potentially to 2 years. And then the total price, and then your TEP, your total evaluated price, including the extension, with and without the extension there. And then the POC, you the owner, and then any additional notes. These would be clarifications, maybe that you're including with your pricing that you would want contracting to know. You could write those in this. So this is going to be, once again, a main portion of your bid response here. Let's look at instruction to offers and evaluation factors for this. So instruction to offers is just going to be 1 page. So factor 1, price. Quote submission in sufficient detail to determine how the fixed firm price was developed. Okay. Attachment A, quote sheet must be completed. That's what we just looked at, along with the 6-month option they're saying. And factor 2, technical capability. Acceptability of the service offered to meet the requirement. Technical capability is defined as meeting or exceeding the requirements in the statement of work. So if I were you, I am attaching maybe a 5-pager or a 2 or 3-pager perhaps, responding to factor 2 technical capability. I'm not just sending off the price sheet. I want to try to let them know, give contracting confidence that we can really perform on what they're asking for in the statement of work, which they're giving us here. This could be, again, spec sheets. It can be timeline. It can be your a designated PM on the contract to let them know who they're going to be working with, that they get a dedicated person, right? So place of services is the Radio Barragata worksite. The 13th Naval Construction Regiment, 30th NCR, requires rentals and services of 2 portable toilets and 2 hand washing stations. This is a very small contract. Again, base period is kicking off this September. Provide 2 portable toilets, 2 hand washing stations at the Radio Barragata worksite, 1 of each to be delivered to separate ends of the sites, naturally. You don't want to run across the site to use the bathroom or wash your hands. Services include flushing, cleaning, hand wash, sink, paper towel, soap dispenser. Provide twice weekly pumping, cleaning, and sanitizing services, so that's going to affect your pricing twice a week. Also, you got to provide toilet paper, chemical, paper towel, antibacterial soap for each unit during 1 time a week service. The rental should include delivery, pickup, and waste disposal, so they want you to do all of that as part of your pricing and delivery. So that's a statement of work. So speaking to this, letting them know that you will do this, maybe giving them an example project plan, timeline. Okay, we see that the POP is 1 September. So guess what? We're going to mobilize a week before, whatever, or whatever the location, the logistics are, so that we will be setting up, like say the morning of 1 September. Who's the contracting POC on this? Let them know how often you're going to be coming so that they know that you're satisfying the weekly or twice weekly requirements. Let them know the 2 different areas that you're going to be setting up at, right? Because they want them at essentially opposite ends, separate ends of the site. So those are all examples of you speaking to the requirement, giving the contracting officer confidence to really, drive home that, these are our old ones, really drive home the factor 2 technical capability. And again, it can just be like 2 pages, okay? So you attach that with your pricing quote sheet. Again, this is going to be really small, so keep that in mind. This is Guam, so also keep that in mind. But again, as our 3rd example shows, no past performance, no experience being requested. I'm not saying you have to do one or the other with these examples, but I know a lot of you guys are choosing, or you're prioritizing to start with contracts that do not require the past performance because either you don't have it or you're not comfortable teaming. Because either you don't have it, you're a brand new business perhaps, or maybe you're not teaming. So these are other ways to get direct federal government contract experience by not having to have it to bid on the contract. You can bid on the contract, win the contracts that don't require it, and then you gain it, then you can go after other contracts that do require it. But just keep in mind, all past performance is not created equal, meaning if you're going after a future requirement requesting past performance and experience, that experience has to be relevant to the scope of work that you're going after. And also the dollar value associated with the scope. And it also needs to be recent, which would probably be fine within the last few years. Well, if you're watching this, then yeah, that would probably be fine. So it'll have to be the scope and the size in order for it to be experienced. You're not going to do the hand station, portable toilet hand washing station contract here and then go after, staffing. It's probably not going to be found to be relevant in the scope. And since this is a very small contract too, it's not going to be relevant really when it comes to the dollar value of the contract. So guys, if you want additional training, check out my Win Contracts Faster Without Wasting Time and Money training. You can jump into it right now. It's totally free. I have a link for that down below. Also, if you are watching this video, you've made it this far, consider subscribing to the channel if you have not. We need your subscription. We need to get the algorithm back on our side. Also, like the video and drop a comment down below if you had any questions or there's something specific about this video that you found to be particularly helpful. And lastly, let me know down below too, where are you at? Are you going after no past performance contracts? Are you just doing research? Have you bid on a few? I would really like to know where you guys are at. So again, subscribe to the channel, drop a like. It really helps me out. And until next time, guys, you got this.